Okay, boxing fanatics, welcome to the eighth episode of the Boxing Fanatics podcast. I am by myself today, so I just want to share my thoughts on Nick Ball's 10th round stoppage win over TJ Doheny in Liverpool last night. So I actually wrote an article and actually previewed this fight, and for me, the main angle here was could Nick Ball beat TJ Doheny in, I guess, better fashion than Inoue, and I guess more specifically, quicker fashion than Inoue. Obviously, Inoue fought Doheny last year and stopped him in 7 rounds. So for me, um, it was interesting to see whether Ball could get the job done in quicker style, really. Obviously, Doheny moved up to featherweight for this fight. Um, and well, overall, I guess in a way did the job in quicker fashion, but Bull came away with, fair to say, mostly a fairly impressive victory. And we're only discussing Inoue here because Bull has been open about facing Inoue. You know, he said in numerous interviews that he'd be willing to fight Inoue. Turkey Al Sheikh is also interested in that fight as well. So that's why Inoue is even being brought up. I think if Bull never even mentioned Inoue, I'm sure this wouldn't really be an angle. Um, but I think everyone knows that in a way, it's almost it feels inevitable that in a way he's going to move up to featherweight once he's done at super bantamweight, and that'll be the next challenge. And what's kind of interesting before we actually talk about the fight is that Bull is listed at 5'2" and Inoue is at 5'5". So I think, hypothetically, everything's hypothetical now, but hypothetically speaking, you know, there shouldn't be that much of a size difference if it happens. But we have to imagine Ball is the naturally thicker man, and Inoue obviously started, I believe it was as low as flyweight. But we'll come on to that. In terms of the actual fight, it was quite a typical Nick Ball performance in many ways, very relentless. Um, but the big talking point is definitely came in the first round, where at the end of the round, the Henny kind of keeps him in a headlock, and then the referee asks him to break, and then after they break, Ball kicks the Henny pretty hard behind his leg, and then he kind of rolls around on the canvas, and yeah, no point was deducted from Ball. Nothing really happened, to be fair. It was just kind of like there was no point deduction, nothing. It just kind of went on after that. But that was quite an interesting talking point. I mean, it's hard to say if that's worth a disqualification or not. It's obviously illegal. I don't think kicking after the bell is going to have any. We'd like to think it wouldn't have any bearing on the fight. We don't know if he gave Danny a dead leg or something like that. But I mean, end of the day, it was after the round. I think, in my opinion, probably a point deduction was probably would have probably been the fairest thing. But Bull, as the A-side fighter, kind of got away with it, and yeah, no point deduction. But another big talking point in the fight was that Bull did get deducted in the ninth round for throwing Doheny to the canvas. So I think it was a couple of times he done this. Bull was obviously very aggressive. He comes forward relentlessly, and yeah, I guess he gets a bit excited when he's up in close, likes to impose his strength, and a couple of times he just threw Doheny to the canvas. And yeah, the referee, to his credit, did um did deduct Bull, so he did get a point deducted in the later rounds. Overall, I think this was a very entertaining fight. I mean, Ball is extremely entertaining. I don't think anyone can deny, he's probably one of the most entertaining, if not the most entertaining British fighter at the moment. We're going to get with Nick Ball. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw bombs. He's very aggressive, and it was very similar in this fight. And in terms of Doheny did have his moments, so to speak. He was on the back foot, as I kind of predicted. Trying to find a home for that left hand, which he landed sometimes. He was obviously very brave. I mean, at the end of the fight, his face was a bit of a mess. So he done well to stick in there. Definitely a very brave man. But ultimately, he was just overmatched by Nick Ball, the younger, who I think is about 10 years younger than him. He was just a bit overmatched by Ball's, I guess, pace, his work rate, and maybe even his punching power. he was just too fresh, too fast, too powerful. And, the corner rightfully before the 11th round decided to kind of save Doheny and prevent him from taking any more punishment. No shame there. Very brave, very, very brave man. And well, if he decides to fight on, then he'll be safe for that. And if he decides to retire, then that's obviously up to him. But it was the referee, it was the right call by the corner to take him out of there. So I guess as many expected, Bull kind of had that another hometown victory. Obviously, he fought in Liverpool last time as well. Um, so I guess another victory in Liverpool was very exciting. And I guess if we're going back to the Inouye thing, I think from the angle I was kind of writing about, he didn't get it done in quicker fashion. But this is almost makes it a bit interesting though. And I think I guess it's it's hard to say if it's worth looking into that too much. Um, we have no idea if Inoue is going to move up to featherweight yet. It sounds like he's still got a couple more fights. But we'll come back to Inoue. So for Ball now, this is kind of interesting because Inoue is not going to come up to featherweight anytime soon. He's got a fight on May 4th against Ramon Cardenas. And Eddie Hearn has also said that Inoue will defend his undisputed titles against Akhmadaliev thereafter. So what that means is basically a Ball Inoue fight is not going to happen anytime soon. It's not going to happen in the next few months for sure. So this is quite interesting for Ball, and I think most boxing fans would like to see Ball just unify now. So obviously you've got the other three champions, which is WBO champion Rafael Espinoza, IBF champion Angelo Leo, and WBC champion Stephen Fulton Jr. So it'll be very interesting what happens next. I think that's got to be the next step for Ball. He's had two, I'm not going to say easy fights, but maybe two fights below the elite level. Obviously, he beat Raymond Ford, which was a phenomenal win for Nick Ball. But it's coming now. He needs to. It looks likely that he's going to have a bigger fight next, and a unification fight, I believe, is a big possibility. And if we're carrying on the theme of Inoue, then Stephen Fulton would probably be the opponent to kind of further build that fight up because obviously Stephen Fulton, again, is another comment. Well, it's another opponent who faced Inoue and who came up short. So that could be another kind of chance to see how Ball does against Fulton while also picking up a title in in the meantime potentially. Obviously, it's all hypothetical now. But I think I would like to see Ball, yeah, unify next. And I guess in an ideal world, Ball unify next, Inoue come through his next two fights, and then move up to featherweight and fight Ball for potentially, well, a unified championship. How big would that be? I mean, I think Turkey would definitely like to see that. And we all would, to be fair. So overall, those are my thoughts. Ball, he is extremely exciting, a great fighter. No one can deny he's probably one of the most informed British fighters, out there right now. And yeah, I think most people do want him to fight in a way because in a way has been very dominant. And for many people, they've many boxing fans and pundits think that in a way he's only going to be kind of stopped by potentially the weight. There's going to come a point where he's just not big enough. But it's funny because but then again, when you look at featherweight, you look at Nick Ball, and he's only listed at 5'2". So that tells you that even featherweight, they're not all that big still. But obviously, you have got taller fighters there as well. Let's see what happens. Well, look, congratulations to Nick Ball. Another great win, another great performance. A little bit dampened by a little bit of controversy, I suppose, with the leg kick. As I said previously, I don't think this had any bearing on the outcome of the fight, but it just kind of leaves a bit of maybe a bit of sour taste in some people's mouths, but he deserved to win in the end. He was the better fighter. And yeah, let's see what happens next. So thanks for listening, guys. Those are my thoughts today. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this podcast so far, please like, comment, subscribe, And yeah, we'll be bringing you a lot more episodes of a lot more guests. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for listening.